and welcome to episode 120 of the InGeneral podcast, the Jurassic Outpost podcast. My name is Caleb. I am joined by Jaden. How's it going, Jaden?
Hello, I'm doing alright, 9 a.m. tings, but we're awake, we're ready to go.
And I'm also joined by Assis. How are you, sir?
My God, this is our third go at this intro part. Lots of technical difficulties, lots of technical difficulties. I can't even speak. I'm so flabbergasted now. You know what I mean? This is going to be a rough pause. Strap in, everyone.
And I'm also joined by Chris Likes Dinos Pew. What's up, sir?
Hello there. We're off to a great start.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We have so many Jurassic things to talk about. We are going to talk about Jurassic World 4 casting and production news. We are going to talk about Jurassic World chaos theory and everything in between. So let's jump into it. There is a new Jurassic World animated series out, just released May 24th, called Jurassic World Chaos Theory. It is a sequel to Jurassic's first real animated series, Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, and it released on Netflix for the world, and there were lots of great reactions to it. Lots of people liked it. And so I just want to go around the horn here for everyone here to share what they thought, share their opinions and theories and ratings and whatever else about Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Jaden, why don't you go first?
Alrighty, well, wait. Yeah, I really liked Chaos Theory. I didn't expect it to be, that good, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, it's just like, yeah, it was good, like, you know what I mean? But Chaos Theory really, I think I tweeted this, it really stepped up the game. I didn't know what I was walking into. And the fact that it was that good really took me by surprise. Yeah, Zisa and I did plan on rating episodes and stuff like that, but I think I'll just give my season overall rating. I'll probably give it like an 8.5 out of 10.
I like that.
Yeah, I think, I don't want to give it like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 because obviously everything can improve and get even better and stuff like that. But it's still solid. I can't really fault it in any way realistically at the moment. I've watched it twice. And yeah, I don't know. I think episode 5 is low-key my favorite one just because how chaotic it is, I guess, and just, the Joe Exotic Easter egg and stuff like that. But
Interesting.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, and quick little before we get any further, we will probably, as we discuss, get into spoilers. So if you haven't finished the show or you haven't seen the show, just be careful how far you listen there. But anyway, yeah. Anything else you wanted to say, Jaden?
I guess I will just go on to the back of what you guys are saying at the moment. But other than that, besides that episode, I think the only thing I can say is when they do, sorry if this is a spoiler, but when they do touch on the mental health side of things, they pass it off really well. Like, it's not preachy, it's not cringy, it just flows really nicely, and that's something that I really took note of and something that I really appreciated because it just was so nice. It was just so well done, and I think that's something that I really took away from Chaos Theory.
For sure. Assis, what did you think? What are your thoughts?
It's interesting because the few episodes leading up to a few podcast episodes leading up to the show's release, we weren't too high on the show. We weren't too excited up until that last episode where our tune kind of changed after that trailer came out and kind of blew us away. So I was very excited for the show, not having finished Camp Cretaceous myself. I've only seen a bit of season 5, and that's where I left it. And I'm glad I did because none of that crap and weird stuff showed up in this. I will say, though, the first 4 episodes for me started off a little bit slow, with episode 2 being kind of the highlight. I felt like the lighting was really good in episode 2. Ben, it's like a boys' road trip, Ben and Darius. I love that. And I don't know if it was just me, but did you guys also get a little bit of hinting towards a Ben romance with Brooklyn as well? There's like a love square going on up in this bitch. I did not expect that. So I like that. That was very cool. And then how do you say this, Chris? Nasutoceratops?
No, Pseudoceratops, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Those guys are always nice to see. And I thought that was a really cool action bit of like a real world dinosaur situation. And I was like, oh, that could happen like in Edmonton. I can just driving down the road one day and there's like a freaking dinosaur stuck in the freaking gas station. I can't get my truck in there. That's a cool thing to see. I like that. I wish we would have seen that more in Dominion. But Jaden, I hate to say this, but the episode that you liked a lot was actually my least favorite episode. I was like, oh boy,
I
we're
knew you were
going
gonna
down
say
this route.
that.
Yeah, I was very worried for the show. And then the whole Kenji's dad stuff, I didn't mind it. Didn't really know. I figured he ended up in prison or something. I didn't expect them to kind of like talk about him being in a halfway house. Like that's kind of serious stuff. Like grown up topics. Like this show just kind of proves to me that it did actually grow with its audience. And I'll say something right now. This show is actually more mature and darker than any of the Star Wars animated things. I'll say that right now because you got stuff like
Ooh.
PTSD. You got
That's
main
valid.
characters getting maimed. You have
Yeah.
things like halfway houses. It's like that's a real world problem that I'm sure some people have to deal with. You know what I mean? So it's like it's so grounded in reality, and I'm so surprised by that. Like it was a very mature thing of dealing with stresses and even the Yaz and Sammy relationship. It was done so maturely. The fact that they're dealing with like separation issues, like long distance, that's a real thing that a lot of us have gone through. So it's really cool to see that in like a Jurassic Park show done pretty well too. And my favorite episode number 9, towards the end, where Darius admits it, and like we knew it that there was going to be like a little bit of a love triangle thing going on. They went through with it, and I thought it was handled pretty well. Surprised about Kenji. I thought I was gonna really not like him, not connect with him, but I thought he actually ended up being kind of an emotional anchor by the end. And I will say my final point, because I'm starting to go on here. I will say I got a little bit scared at the end again when the bad guy got revealed. I was like, oh my god, here we go again. Another bad guy that's lame. Another fallen kingdom ass story. And then by the end of it though, Kate Blanchett was creepy. I was enjoying myself, and I found
Kate
myself really
Blanchett.
excited to see where, dude, it's Kate Blanchett, and I was really excited to see where they take
Alcohol.
Brooklyn in the next episode because she's back with one arm.
True.
I love the show.
Yeah. I mean that you summed up
Arena's
you
alcohol
summed it up
from-
you summed it up really well, Assis. Well, I was just about to say, Chris, what did you think? What are your thoughts? What were you about to say?
Well, I want when you say Kate Blanchett or whatever, you're talking about Arena Spalkov or whatever. I don't know if that's the actual character's name from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, right?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes,
from
yes.
Indiana Jones.
Like,
I thought
you
they did
cast
well.
her
I
and
thought she
had,
was
like,
creepy,
Mia
and
Goth
I don't know, it was
play
cool.
I'm still not convinced she's
her.
human. So
Oh my god, Caleb, don't do this. Don't make this show like
I'm
this.
serious. I'm
So-
serious.
What do you mean? What makes you think
I
she's
don't
like
know.
a robot or something? Are they gonna
She's
intro-
just
like a Brad
so.
X
I mean,
underneath?
I'm not. I don't
Like
know.
cold?
Like she's just so robotic, and she didn't blink, and that was just very unsettling for me. But Chris,
She's
I
very
go
also-
on.
avian.
Yeah, Chris, go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sorry, I want to say one last thing. Sorry. I tweeted. I need to get this out because this is important to me. This is the best Jurassic Park content in my opinion since 2001. I've been saying that for about a couple days now. I've seen the show twice. I'm halfway through my third rewatch of it now, and it still slaps. This is the best Jurassic content since 2001.
Aziz, you can't praise Jurassic Park 3 anymore, by the way. Just want to let you know that.
Oh yeah, Jurassic Park 3, guys. People try to keep it afloat, but it's not working. Sorry, we don't talk about that movie. We're a Lost World fan here now.
I
Well,
would say it's the best
following-
Jurassic since 1997.
following Assis's strong words there. Yes, Chris, tell us how you feel.
Yeah, I love the show. I thought that all of the characters were tremendous highlights, as they were in Camp Cretaceous, but it's taken so much further. They are a lot more complex. They have a lot more depth. They're standing in the world. The issues that they're dealing with are a lot more relatable. Everything feels more grounded, and in spite of that, they also feel like natural evolutions of the characters that we had in Camp Cretaceous. But we are not seeing the same type of like childlike methodologies applied to their character development at this age. You know, they really grew the show with them. So I think, for one thing, all of these characters, every single one of them, are very, very likable, are very intriguing, and have unique stories and unique character development and unique trials and tribulations that they're going through that really create just such a compelling narrative, and really makes it easy to invest in the characters. So right off the bat, like, the characters are really fun, and the show manages to be fun despite being dark. But that said, the show is surprisingly dark and handles some complex themes. It essentially feels like the concepts of Jurassic World, but done with the methodology of Jurassic Park. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some animated series flourishes mixed within. Certain things that, if this were live action, I'm sure would be handled slightly differently. But I can't get over how stunning the show is to look at. The lighting, the cinematography, even the story itself is really compelling and interesting. I found the pacing to be done quite well. Everything about it just kind of blew me away. And, a lot of people are saying it's like the Jurassic World Dominion that people wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I think it just does a better job of executing on concepts and themes Jurassic World movies tried to execute on. But I think Chaos Theory just takes those ideas and handles them much more efficiently, with more complexity, more depth, more narrative cohesion. I think that the show is quite shocking. And, like, honestly, there are a few times during the show that I literally said, oh shit, like, it really has those moments. Again, we talked about spoilers, so spoiler warning. When Kenji's dad is killed by a sickle claw into the skull is one of those moments where I was just like, oh my
Unexpected.
god,
That was an amazing
Yeah,
scene.
that's
Wow.
like, how are you having more like gruesome deaths in a cartoon than any of the live action movies? Like, it was as shocking as like the Udesky thing, like as graphic. I mean, like, I was very
I
impressed.
loved the Beckel Spinex pulling the dude out of the back of the van. Like, that little sequence lasted longer than I expected it to.
gobbling him.
Yeah. I was like, all right.
Or the Beckel Spinax with the water, like where the guy comes out and the Stegos are like just looking at the death scene, like just very creepily.
Yeah.
And I think this show does a better job of creating logical reasons for the characters to do what they do and the dinosaurs to do what they do. And I think it does a better job of depicting the dinosaurs as animals. I think the set pieces are more interesting and more cleverly put together than the recent Jurassic World films.
Shout out
it's
to
it's firing on all cylinders.
oh yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say shout out to the writers. They did a fantastic job with the story and everything.
Yeah, really, just really, really shocking and surprising. Like, you talked about the Beckel Spinax scene. I think that's something that's interesting. Camp Cretaceous never really showed the dinosaurs make contact with human characters when they were killing them, eating them, or anything like that. And this show now shows physical contact. On top of that, Camp Cretaceous tended to give their villain characters, or their characters that would have a gruesome death or something, or a theoretically gruesome death, like, really cartoony voices. And this time they play it straight, and it really benefits from that. It's a lot easier to invest in. You feel the tension. The moments of levity don't seem to be thrown in haphazardly to break up the tension. They fit in appropriately when they make sense. Serious scenes are played serious, and the moments for lightheartedness find their place, and they feel natural. The gags work, in my opinion. I think I was genuinely so impressed by the series. And, as we talked about, like, it deals with trauma and PTSD, complex relationships and long distance relationship troubles, or, characters who think they know what's best for one another and not allowing the other one to grow, with like Yaz and Sammy. And I think I just found it really interesting how relatable the characters are, their nuances, their strengths, their flaws, their quirks. It all really works. Ben is just such a likable, standout, charismatic character now.
So much better. So much
The
development.
MVP.
Yeah.
He's number 2. We'll talk about that later. He's number 2 for me, though. We'll talk about that.
Every single one of these characters have grown, and they feel like such an extension of what we were left with in Camp Cretaceous, but also feel so very different. And I just really can't get over it. I really invested in one of the show, and I love every moment. And there's a lot to talk about, and I'm sure that we're going to get into different scene breakdowns and favorite dinosaurs and theories and whatnot. But yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote a review Caleb, I believe you wrote a review.
Yeah,
What
Jack and
was in
I
chat?
wrote a review, and yeah, it's on
Yeah,
our YouTube
so
channel
like,
and website. But yeah, so
yeah. So like, I think that we covered a lot of that, and I think the one thing that I've seen with every review that I've read is that we are, whether it's from a Jurassic fan site or a news publication, like something that's like listed on Rotten Tomatoes, even top critics, they are all saying the same thing. Like everyone's like,
100%.
yeah,
what the
yeah,
hell?
like
Why was it so good?
there were some review or just commentary articles that I saw this last week from websites that I did not expect to be writing about Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Like there was a article on IndieWire that was actually really thoughtful and really good about how Chaos Theory is like it just turns up the right elements of Jurassic Park into Chaos Theory, and it's more mature and scary. And I was like, okay, people are talking about this. Like this is cool. Um, I was gonna say really quick, just to
Caleb, what
get
did you
my
think of the show?
thoughts. Yeah, just to get my thoughts out of my brain. So Assis had a hot take in his opinions. I have a hot take in mine. So
Uh-oh.
if you know me, you know how much I love Fallen Kingdom. And this Chaos Theory series uh, was a better sequel to Fallen Kingdom for me than Dominion was. It just felt
Yeah.
Yes.
like
Yes.
Yeah.
and I say that as someone who really enjoyed Dominion too. It's just like this just felt like the most natural, logical next step for that story. And it's just, our friend Stephen Ray Morris coined this term, I think, about chaos theory. He said it's basically like a true crime, essentially a murder thriller with dinosaurs. Like, that's basically what it
Absolutely.
is.
Road trip, everything.
And
It's a road
yeah,
trip
and
murder mystery.
I just loved it. I enjoyed every second. It was enhanced, especially for me personally, by how great the score is. Shout out to Leo Berenberg. Like the music, for lack of a better term, like matured with the show's maturation, and like you have these end credit
Mhm.
sequences with concept art and like this Bernard Herrmann music,
So
like we're in
nice.
a Hitchcock thriller
Beautiful.
movie, and it was just fantastic. I loved it. I loved
So
every
unexpected.
second of it. So yeah, for sure. So um, if you
Yeah, I
guys
feel
had
like episode 5 had the best song
the best song,
with the rock climbing.
yeah.
Yeah, like the rock climbing scene was amazing. I think that was episode 5, but yeah, the rock climbing scene, it just felt like the music behind it. I was like, man, I was like, this
Oh, for
sounds
sure.
amazing. Like this is like the music on it, and I'm not one like that really comments on the music side of things. I only started looking at that kind of detail now, like being more involved with Jurassic Outpost and like talking to you more, Caleb, and stuff like that, and I could actually appreciate it. I was like, wow, this is actually really sick.
Yeah, it just like it wasn't. I mean, as the show itself had a more serious feeling. The music is like absolutely essential in that, and it played the part perfectly. Like it wasn't in any way like cheesy or out of place. It just was perfect for a thriller with dinosaurs. So
You know what? I wouldn't mind him taking a stab at the next Jurassic movie, honestly. I know it's unlikely, yeah, it's
I
probably going to
had the
be
same
someone he's already
thought.
worked with, or Michael Giacchino is probably going to come back. But, like, yeah, exactly, right? Like, it's like, who's like the composer for all like the Rebels and stuff? Like, same idea with him. He did such a good job with all the projects that he's done. Like, give him a stab at the big show. Make him do the movie. It's like these guys have worked their way up. Michael Giacchino started off with the Lost World video game, and then he worked his way up to the
Yeah,
big show. You know what I mean? I think it's a cool story of having to like work your way up in the Jurassic minor league and work your way up to the big show. I think it's a cool thing.
yeah. In my the video on the Jurassic Outpost channel about who should be the composer for the next movie, Leo Berenberg is in there. So yeah.
I will say
Vouch.
though, you know what? Like the music is definitely an important step up from the previous show, But I think the biggest thing that we haven't really we touched on it a little bit so far, but I found that the tech behind the show itself, like the animation quality, the models, like all those things, it was so much more um I guess emotive, because in my notes here I have a couple times I've
Hmm.
written the eyes, like, because the eyes I found were, I guess, a step up from the last show, because they were giving so much more emotion in them. They were making them more watery, like you could tell what the characters were feeling just by looking at their eyes. I thought that was very impressive. But with this like step up in technology, I still find that the characters and the environment sometimes look a little bit too cartoony when you compare them to the dinosaur models, because they seem like they're almost from different things sometimes, with how almost realistic and lifelike the dinosaur models are, and then you have a very cartoony character model. Sometimes it kind of takes me out of the show a little bit. So I'm wondering if, or I'm actually hoping that the next seasons kind of take that step up in terms of the character models as an overall. Do you guys feel that as well, or am I kind of alone in that thinking where the models themselves aren't there yet?
I
They
I
you said
think
they aren't?
No,
I
specifically the
mean,
character models, not because like the characters, they look a little bit too smooth, too soft and round as compared to like the T-Rex or the Atrociraptor model, where they look more sharp and angular, almost like almost in a different style, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't seem like they're
well,
in
I
the
think
same
I was gonna say,
world within that show sometimes.
yeah, I was gonna say I think it has to do with like the style restrictions at times, but like I don't know. That's an interesting point though. What were you gonna say, Chris or whoever?
I think they made the right call. I think that if they had stylized the dinosaurs too much, they might not look like the dinosaurs they're supposed to be, and I think that we would be frustrated with it. I think that they found a really perfect way to do stylized, slightly stylized characters that blend with the dinosaur models. I mean, in fact, most of the dinosaur models that are on display in the show are straight from the IO. Like they are IOM models and
Oh, so it's
IOM
like they
textures.
are like
Hmm.
separate entities almost. Like they don't kind of belong. Okay, makes sense.
And like on top of that, like oh my god, like when we talk about lighting in the models and the dinosaurs, like they have improved the lighting technology so much.
100%.
Like it looks like they're incorporating like subsurface scattering, where the light is penetrating the skin of the dinosaurs and then refracting back through the skin, and you're getting that color bounce and color saturation and light saturation within the skin, not just reflecting like a hard surface. And there are so many shots. I mean, especially with the Atrociraptors, which I didn't hate, but I didn't care for in Dominion. And this show sold me on Atrociraptors. And
Oh
they have
yeah.
Yeah.
so many beautiful shots.
You know what? They've sold me enough. Also, this is kind of hard to podcast because there's a slight delay on my end when someone
Same.
talks and someone finishes. It's a little bit hard to like jump in at the right time. But I
It's all
found
right.
that this show did such a good job with the weaponized raptors. It made it look intimidating, and it did so much for the Atrociraptors. Where I'm like, okay, you know what? If these are the new villain raptors moving forward in the movies, I'm okay with it. Whatever.
Can,
I've bought onto them now. I guess they look cool enough.
can I say why I think it works for me?
Absolutely.
So twofold. We've had so many movies with the Velociraptors that have basically depicted. They basically said, "Hey, these are uncontrollable, untamable." So coming in and saying, "Oh, we can tame the Velociraptors now," it kind of doesn't work. But also, I think what really works with the Atrociraptors is we see. So this is now a different type of raptor, something that we presume is bred for like this type of interaction and control. So it's a different species, and it's coded with a Velociraptor, but it also feels different. So like, okay, for some reason I can buy that more. Also, I think seeing some of the techniques like the whistle, what we see on display with the Atrociraptors feels a little bit more coded with like the way that animal training tends to work. And less is more. We don't really get to see how they got to this point. We don't have them saying, "Oh, we're gonna use them for the military," or like, "This is the future." It's just happening, and because they're not trying to make these bold claims for what the Atrociraptors are supposed to do or how they got here, I think it just kind of works a little bit more. So yeah, I think carving out a separate species for a raptor in that form, and then like just the way that they handled it works. And this show also does a fantastic job. Like it's one of the things that we've all talked about. Like it makes no goddamn sense to have a gun with a laser on it. It honestly just makes no sense to use a dinosaur to kill someone when you can
freaking
just
gun.
there's
Well,
so many
Yeah.
ways
but
to
but
kill somebody.
but to that,
And this show justifies it by saying, like, yeah, you can kill somebody, but like if you kill somebody, there's a murder investigation. If somebody's mauled by an animal, they'll be like, man, that's some bad luck.
That's such good world building. I didn't even consider that. Like, people are going to
why-
use this to like murder people now. It's amazing.
Yeah,
yeah,
the live
to
action
your
films try to make
Chris. Sorry.
go on.
It's
No, I
so
was just
hard
gonna
to
say
jump
to
in.
your.
I know the
I'm
delay.
sorry. No, I was just gonna say to your point. Like, I think most people who watched Chaos Theory now have probably seen Dominion or are aware of it. So like they've seen the Soyona Santos thing and just the concept there, whether it was believable or not. Like, and so they come to this, and this almost seems a little bit more believable. But
Mhm.
it also just it works because you see the creepy Atrociraptor lady and her aura and the entire unsettling nature of that, and you're like, of course this works. Of course they obey her. Why would they not obey her? I don't know. It just the whole thing worked really well. The whole package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh, there you go, Chris. Sorry.
are you sure?
Hang on, I'll just say something real quick. With the Atrociraptors as well, like I feel like it works as well because, and shout out to Lewis Lee because he posted this on the week of Chaos Theory, but he quoted Hoskins from Jurassic World. Imagine that one, a fraction of the size, deadly, intelligent, able to hide from the most advanced military technology, a living weapon unlike anything we've ever seen. And then you come back full circle, and that's what the Velociraptors are. And I think that's why, for me, I can like really gauge with it and like them a lot more now because it comes full circle.
Totally. And okay, so I want to add two things. So like going back on like the murder thing, it makes no sense to train raptors for military or anything like that. Like there are so many more efficient ways to handle those scenarios, but like for like, hey, it's more of like a way to cover up a crime. Okay, that works. It's a trained animal and you're using it to basically cover up a crime. That actually works a lot more. That's a much more logical application of that technology. And then to your point, Jaden, and to Lewis Lee's point, then, it the Atrociraptors having the ability to camouflage also pulls back to that. And a fun fact, also, the Atrociraptors were originally meant to camouflage in Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah, wow. Okay, that would have been so much cooler as well.
Whoa, really? I don't like that. I'm glad that it didn't. I'm surprised Jaden
Really?
was like, "Hey, what's cool, interesting." I don't.
I like the
that.
camouflage. I think it just added to like the holy shit. You know what I mean? But I get like people that wouldn't like it. I think it's just a cool fact and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it's not like magical camouflage like the Indominus Rex and it's handled much more like a chameleon, I think that's a really cool application of that. I think it's a really neat way to ground that and bring it into a way that it's not like kind of unrealistic and it's much more subtle and subdued. And they're not turning invisible, but they do have the ability to blend into their environment. I think that's just a very cool naturalistic
Yeah.
animalistic trait to give to such a reptilian looking animal.
Yeah,
and yeah, I
absolutely.
think that's fantastic. I think it just makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of the Atrociraptors now, and their design.
Such an atrocity. I remember how that's what Caleb said when we first heard of this during like Dominion's like release or something. There was like Atrociraptor. Caleb's like, my friend said it's an atrocity raptor. I'm like, that's so funny. I didn't know it was a real thing until like way after. Now we're singing their praises.
Yeah, no, I mean I think they're a really great design, and I think this show does a better job of using the camera to highlight their design differences and to really showcase their unique silhouette. And
There were some sweet shots of the Atrociraptors in this season of the show.
With them,
like
especially at Sammy's barn.
Yeah, the moon
Yes.
shot.
Oh yeah.
And
Beautiful.
the shot of Ghost, like in the dark in the forest, like very dimly lit shot of Ghost in there, and you can really see his red eye. Like there are some great ones.
yeah,
You know what? Since we're speaking about the atrocity raptors, I just want to say this.
Atrocity Raptors.
Oh, shit, what did I want to say about these guys? Oh, I want to give a shout out to this show. I think it was in the episode where the Kate Blanchett lady and the raptors are in like the foggy area chasing the kids or whatever. I think it's a foggy area. Is my memory failing me? They were in
No,
fog,
there's
right, at some point?
yeah, there's one of the episodes is called
Episode 9's
Into the
called
Fog.
Into the Fog, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
It's probably that episode. So, what was I going to say about those things? Oh, yes. Shout out to the show for actually showing dinosaurs get tired.
Yeah.
I don't want to shit on Dominion. Like, this is not a shit on Dominion episode, but I just found the contrast that a cartoon is able to make these super like deadly velociraptor raptor guys get tired, whereas in Dominion these guys are running across Malta, down the freaking bay, across the beach, across the runway. It's like it turns into a little bit like Fast and Furious, whereas like here the dinosaurs are actually acting like dinosaurs, which is surprising to see from a cartoon, and even a step up from Camp Cretaceous. I thought they did a decent job in that show, but it seems like whoever the creative people are behind the scenes, it seems like they were paying attention to what people were saying, criticisms about the first show, especially how the show ended, and they definitely worked to remedy that. And they've done such a good damn job with this show that I want to see sometime in the future. I want to see this cast of characters somehow translated into live action. But like, I would love to follow a show of like
There's a statement.
35-year-old Darius having to, having to like stop an ecological disaster, and they have to get the Nublar 6.
I tried to send a photo yesterday in the WhatsApp chat, but the cast of Chaos Theory, like
They did a thing.
Paul
Listen,
McKell, Sean,
if,
or even the.
Can we talk about Brooklyn now? How did you guys? Well, I guess we kind of I guess the rumors were out that she didn't die, and then I guess that was in the back of my mind during the show. But I think, how did you guys feel about her coming back at the end? I guess is my question. You think it softened the impact of the journey the characters went on? I think it did.
I like how I ultimately don't have a problem with it, but it's because I like how they handled it and how they presented it. They really did a good job of not giving it away, in my opinion. And like it's not like nothing happened to her also. Like that was a traumatic thing that happened to her. And like it's traumatic for her friends because they still don't know. And so like there's still that element of tension there. But I mean I understand what you're saying too, but I enjoyed it personally. But
I don't think it lessened it. I mean, I think that we all suspected Brooklyn. So if you recall, like 2 years ago, there was a casting call for a character named quote missing an arm, social media influencer, etc., etc., and we were all like, "Wow, this character sounds exactly like Brooklyn. What are the odds? Who thinks that they couldn't get Jenna Ortega back, and that Brooklyn's gonna have an injury?" And like we kind of all thought that. And like as soon as like the trailer premise came out about Brooklyn, we're like, "Yeah, Sydney is Brooklyn. Brooklyn is."
Yeah,
Sydney.
but the thing
Like,
was
it
for
was
me
obvious.
why I kept it on my mind. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But also, I never thought they'd kill Brooklyn off screen, to be honest with you. So, like, I don't think even without that knowledge, I think that I would have probably presumed that she was alive anyhow. Now, I will say this:
There was a lot of blood on
do
the
any
floor.
other death fake outs as the show goes on. If a character has something happen and we're meant to presume they're dead, they got to stick to it now. They got their one and done with Brooklyn, so I think
Two
that
and done.
we need.
They also did it with Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't do that again. Like if they
True.
do something like that, they better be dead. And I'm hoping that some of these hero characters that they established, like Mateo, I think Mateo would be a good character to have continue to play in the show in one form or another, and I think that would be a great character to kill off.
Mateo.
I had that in my notes.
Is the man.
Mateo's
The MVP. The GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT.
They need to, I think they need to kill off a hero for sure. And
They definitely will not
needs
kill
to
off
hurt.
Nublar 6. I don't want them to, because I'm
Nah, I don't think they
surprised-
will.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I'm surprised that they would do that, like, level of injury to a main character. That's never really been seen in the Jurassic franchise.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why, like, when the casting
Yeah.
call came out, in the back of my mind, I was like, there's no way they're going to do it to Brooklyn of all characters. Okay, other characters maybe, but there's no way it's going to be Brooklyn, the pink-haired little girlfriend of Kenji's. There's no way. Like, that seemed like one of the most popular characters, especially with Jenna Ortega. I mean, I know she's not coming back, or she didn't come back, but that wasn't enough in my mind to be like, oh yeah, they're gonna definitely bring her back. And then when they started showing all like the flashbacks, the amount of blood that was on the ground, I even wrote in my notes like that's a lot of blood. I was like, she's probably dead. And then when she like comes back, I'm like, I don't know. I it's probably going to be handled well because they've handled everything else well. I have no reason to doubt them at this point. But yeah, of the Nublar Six. Let's get into the Nublar Six in general. Then, sorry, Caleb. I think I've like hijacked this a little bit because I want to talk about this. I'm so
No,
excited.
you're fine.
Of the Nublar Six, which is our favorite? I'm just gonna say Sammy because I disliked Sammy a lot in the previous show, and I thought she was like the most mature and like most, I guess, developed of a human being in this. Like the way she kind of de-escalated that situation with the angry neighbor and Bumpy. I thought that was like just such a like I've seen that
Oh
like I've
yeah.
seen my mom do that to like an adult sometimes. Like he has like just repeat it and then repeat it like really like an adult strict. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing was like, oh shit, Sammy's like an adult. And then the way they handled how she was dealing with the stresses of her incident, I thought that was also interesting. How she became like just kind of put it behind her and kind of just what was that Yaz? The whole either way, Yaz was also such a interesting character with how with her project, the PTSD project. I thought that was genius, and that whole little village attack is great. But I'm rambling again because I love the show.
Brutal.
But yeah, which of the Nublar Six is your favorite, boys?
Uh,
Um,
I'm just gonna say Ben. Ben was mad for me. I love that he was like a Reddit gremlin conspiracy theorist
He's
and
great.
stuff like that. I just love that. I also just loved like the banter like with Ben as well. Like he was just, I don't know, I just really loved Ben. He was just such a vibe. It like the whole show.
Oh,
But yeah, I think he really grew on me a lot. Sammy as well, because I wasn't really a fan of Sammy in Camp Cretaceous either. Yeah, I just wasn't. I don't know. She was just a bit too annoying. But yeah, I guess now that they're more mature, and you can relate to them, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay, like she's all right. You know, she's not that
she's like
bad.
the
So
mom of the group now.
yeah, so I like them all now equally. Obviously, like Ben and Darius, I like a bit more. Kenji, like a bit. Yaz, I still really like as well. But yeah, Ben is probably my favorite to come out of Chaos Theory, to be honest.
Yeah, I like them all equally. Like it's really hard for me to pick a favorite. I would say that Ben and Darius maybe have the most show stealing moments, but I like them all equally now. You know, again, I definitely had like preferred characters in Camp Cretaceous. You know, Darius and Brooklyn, I think were always the standouts for me as like the most interesting, relatable, complex characters. Um, and some of the other characters came off a little cartoony at times, but I don't think that's an issue with any of them now. I love them all. Like genuinely, I like them all. You know, I'd say, and I want to give a shout out to oh, I forget the actress's name who plays Brooklyn now.
Her name Kelly, I think. I followed her yesterday.
She did a great
Um,
job doing her rendition of Brooklyn, her version
Oh
of
my
it. I thought
God,
it was
she did a
great.
phenomenal job. On top of that, she grew up right
it's
outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is where I live.
Hell yeah!
oh wow, it's Kirsten Kelly. It's Kirsten Kelly.
Kirsten Keller. Yeah, she did a phenomenal job. Brooklyn's character continues good. You know, maybe she doesn't have as many show stealing moments, but that's the nature of the season. I would say that Ben, Darius, and Kenji, I think, get the most show stealing moments because they are the most regarded around the plot. But then I think the personal romantic relationship between Yaz and Sammy continues with its complexity, and I like that it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but it wasn't stupid predictable drama that was causing them conflict. It was actually really complex issues they're dealing with. I think that was really, I don't know, it just really, I was wowed. I was like, man, I would love to be able to sit in that writer's room and listen to them talk and see how they work and talk to them and pick their brain because they just some tremendous storytelling, tremendous artistry. Just
Yeah,
that
they're
show.
good. They're good in my Jurassic book. They're right up at the top now. Like,
Yeah,
holy shit! Like,
yeah.
I'm shocked. Like, how do you go from season 4 and 5 and then produce this? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like they got rid of like the guys who like Brad X guys. You're not doing the next show, and they brought back all the good guys, and they're like, we're just gonna make the show good. And
I love
yeah,
how in Ben's van there's a picture of a Brad, but then there's a post-it note on top of it, like covering
oh, I
it
didn't
up.
even notice that.
Which
Yeah.
I was like, that's really funny. Like it's like they're like, yeah, we're acknowledging it, but we're also not really putting the focus on it. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I think they get it. They They jumped one. They didn't jump the shark. They jumped the megalodon with seasons 4 and 5. So I think they understand that, and they really recalibrated. And I will say, seasons 4 and 5 had some really great character beats, but the plot was batshit.
Yeah.
I love batshit plots. Batshit plots are my
Caleb, go
favorite.
ahead.
No, my favorite character has been Brooklyn for a long time because she's the one asking all the correct questions and calling out Dr. Wu and doing all of that kind of thing. But I also relate to Sammy a whole bunch because she's from Texas and I'm also from Texas, and she's just a great,
Oh yeah.
energetic, spunky character. So but I do love how all of the characters have progressed in this show. It's so well done. So
Yeah.
Does
Caleb
anyone
also
else
takes
still
them
feel
apart.
like that beef, or that there's beef still between Kenji and Darius?
Absolutely, that's not going to be a
yeah,
thing. Like, that's like, you know
Okay.
what I mean? Like, a love triangle situation with you and one of your best buds. I mean, a lot of us have been there, I'm sure. It's always an awkward situation. That thing doesn't get resolved in an afternoon or even 2 afternoons. It takes a little while,
But
and
not
then
only
you're gonna get
that,
through
like,
the situation later on and probably fix it.
there's the fact that Darius isn't calling his mum, and like Kenji's been talking to Darius's mum more and stuff like that. Like they noted they made that a point, but then didn't really address it
It's such a
after like
real world thing too. You know what I mean? Like we all know
yeah.
that we all know that situation, that dynamic with someone in our life. It's very like this is the thing I guess I'm just realizing now. It's like they've made a show about young adults, but not young adults in today's era, but like young adults when we were young adults almost. Like they're not talking about like Instagram, social media, or TikTok. You know what I mean? Like it's not that level of cringe young teenager like I see a lot of. It's like when we were young teenagers or like young adults, it's like similar exact problems. Maybe that's why I connected with it. I was like, I had that problem. Oh, I did a road trip across America. Oh, I've been like with my best buddy. You know what I mean? Like, I found
hmm
it so relatable, and that's why I think this is why I keep coming back to it, like as a background sound piece now, almost in my household.
Yeah, and like Darius is very traumatized from what happened to Brooklyn. He blames himself. He's shouldering that blame, and it's really the way that he's chasing the Allosaurus like it's his white whale. And it's a very interesting, complex. We're seeing these characters do things that we haven't seen them before. Like Darius, is he hunting the Allosaurus to kill it? Like that's a pretty big shift for Darius.
yeah. What's he gonna do with it when he catches it?
Yeah, yeah.
The Coyote versus the Roadrunner, like it is one of those things, and we do see that, but like that's not necessarily resolved because he doesn't know about Brooklyn being alive, and on top of that, I think they're all gonna be mighty pissed off at Brooklyn when they find out that she's alive.
Or
Yeah,
that she didn't contact them and stuff,
Yeah,
and they're having them like go
they
through all these traumatic
and
moments.
she's involved in dinosaur trafficking.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, what a great twist. I thought for sure, like, oh yeah, Brooklyn's into some weird stuff. I'm like, this is like, the twists and turns of the show just kept me guessing. All the individual storylines were working for me. So when they'd go off into like one of the duos and like Darius and Kenji are slow climbing rocks, I'm equally invested into each of the storylines going on. I couldn't get enough of each of them. I thought like each storyline could have been its own season in a way, but I'm like glad they've kind of wrapped it up. I'm almost surprised that they're ending. I didn't surprise. I'm surprised they ended the show the way they did with them getting on that boat. Um, I where do we think they're going? Do we know? Have any
That
theories
is
on that? Are they
a
going to an
that is a
island?
good question. I
Also,
don't know. What do you
no
guys
Soyona
think?
Santos as well. So we know
uh
Kate Blanchett's got to get involved with Soyona Santos at some point.
can we talk about that character, please?
Yes, let's
Like,
do.
Yes.
I guess this will be the last thing about before we jump into like Jurassic World stuff, because I know
Yeah,
we've
I
been on
have.
Camp Cretaceous for, I mean, yeah, Chaos Theory for a while.
I was gonna
But
say I have
yeah,
one
like
more
that character
question,
was wild.
but yeah.
Oh yeah, go for it. Sorry.
No, after you. Sorry. Go ahead. I
We
have one more question.
okay. Yeah, because so we don't really know a name for her besides like the handler or what you guys have been saying. But I really liked what DreamWorks did because I know I've mentioned this before, especially in the last podcast one of the writers or art people for Chaos Theory posted a story about how Chaos Theory is going to be more mature and stuff like that. And I think they definitely did deliver on that. But I just love what DreamWorks is doing as a whole as a studio, because from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Death, like the wolf in that movie, the whistling from coming into the scenes and like just being creepy and eerie and stuff like that, it really translates to Chaos Theory now. And I think I posted a tweet yesterday, and there's some inspirations, and they used it for the storyboard of the Handler character and stuff like that as well. But yeah, no, it's just I didn't expect it at all, and I wanted to talk about some theories that I wanted to bring back for her, because like we don't know why she's chasing them realistically. You know what I mean? But here are my theories. I just wanted to throw them out here just because they might be stupid, and that's what's funny about it. But my partner said, she said, I reckon she's one of the kids that didn't get chosen to go to Camp Cretaceous, and she's been hunting them down. That's one theory.
Oh, wow.
Because she's angry she didn't get chosen. My theory, and this might be wild, and I've seen it floating around a bit, but that's Ben's European girlfriend.
Okay.
Because he did mention it. I'm just saying, it could happen.
I think his European girlfriend's Brooklyn, but okay.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, how funny it would be if
Oh my.
Ben's European girlfriend is Brooklyn, and it's like her way of keeping tabs on everyone.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that. Wow,
Yeah, that's
okay.
a lot of
And if
love
that's the
squares
case,
going on.
man, that's just gonna add more drama and tension between Brooklyn and mistrust with all of them. The handler, I imagine she's working for Dodson. The only thing that really
Yeah.
makes sense to me is Dodson sees the kids as a loose end. He doesn't know how much they know about him, and if they can tie him to
Such a
Manticore.
bummer.
Yeah,
So
Dodgson
he's
doesn't
probably-
Dodgson doesn't
It's
like
not
loose
exciting.
ends.
Brooklyn probably started poking and prodding around. She probably started getting too close to everything. And then Dodson's like, well, do they all know? Are they all on this? This is a problem. It's got to be Dodson that that's worried they can implicate him.
No, I don't want this. I hope, I
Jeez.
really hope. No, because then that's the issue. We know the end point. We always kind of figured we always knew the end point, but I don't want it to be Dodson. I want it to be something else entirely, because then the mystery is ultimately gone. If anyone
That's valid.
half a
That's
brain
valid.
is like, and Dominion was seen by a lot of people. I guarantee everyone that's watching this show has seen Dominion. They're like, oh, it's Dodson. There's no way. The writers must subvert the expectations. They do so with Camp Cretaceous? I thought they did. We all thought they were going to go to one of the islands. They didn't. Granted, that's a silly one, but it's there. We all thought that Dodson would play a bigger role towards the end of the show, and same with Biosyn, and it didn't. So maybe they will subvert the expectation, because if at the end of the day the goal is that whole Biosyn thing, then I don't think much of the show towards the back half of it is going to be as suspenseful or even interesting as it is now, because we know what happens.
Well-
You know what I mean? Like, whether he gets Nublar 6 guys or he doesn't, it ultimately doesn't matter, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
What were
the
you gonna say,
larger
Chris?
Story.
I mean, I think the show is ultimately more about the character growth and drama, anyhow. So, like, whomever is hunting them and why is important, but I think it being Dodson and us knowing like what happens to Dodson and Biosyn doesn't necessarily subtract from that. On top of that, it's probably a good way to find out some of the other things that Biosyn is doing and intersecting other key players and other key things that they're up to and nefarious schemes, and it's a good way to iron out Dodson's character a little bit further.
but
And
then
also, Manticore
show's
was
just
going to be in the
fixing
show
Dominion
originally.
then.
It was going to be Biosyn, and then, Colin said, hey, don't use Biosyn, I'm using Dominion, and there's no way we can align. So I don't think they need to use Manticore. And yeah, I think it's going to be Biosyn and Dodson. I don't think that's a problem. I think there'll still be some big surprises mixed in. I think the Locust will absolutely come into play, but I think
That would
there'll
be
also
fun.
be new things.
It was in Ben's van, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
like,
Yeah.
carnivorous locusts. So that brings me to a good way, I think, to maybe. Well, let me say what I was going to say about the handler first. I found her to be one of the best parts of the series. So unsettling. Like I said, I'm still not sure if she's human. So we'll see there. I don't know who she's working for. I'm really interested to find out. I would not be surprised if it was Biosyn or Dodgson, or maybe she's working with the same people Soyona Santos was working with, or something like that. But that brings me to what maybe is a good way to transition into talking about Jurassic World 4, which is a question I have for all of you about chaos theory. How do you think chaos theory will tie into Jurassic World 4 as we move towards next year?
Absolutely zero way, I think, because
Yeah.
isn't this
Okay.
still like a Colin Trevorrow kind of
Yeah, I don't,
old
Yeah.
regime thing?
you know, yeah, I don't think it's gonna tie into it. I mean, it depends. It might be like one of those things where, Camp Cretaceous, the first 3 seasons were basically done back to back, and then the latter 2 were kind of like when they found out more about Dominion. So
Mhm.
there might, it might be one of those things where Chaos Theory, maybe they did like 2 seasons back to back, and they're
That's a
now
good point,
looking
too.
at the metrics to say, do we finish it off with 1 or 2 more seasons? So they might do a little, they might try to do some small nods to align it, but I don't think it's going to be big, like, oh shit, like where's this gonna go? And then like the trailer for Jurassic World 4 comes
Sure.
out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. I don't expect that.
Yeah,
I
no,
want
that's
it to,
valid.
though.
I think it would be cool, but I can't tell you what it might be. I don't know. But yeah.
It'd
The
be cool if
one
they do
thing,
that, but
the one.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
sorry.
sure.
Go ahead.
No, I was just, what were you gonna say, Assis?
So the one thing I hope, like, I know they're probably not going to do it, but the coolest, most applicable thing that they could possibly bring in is like those dino free villages with like all those like people who just can't deal with
Oh
dinosaurs in
yeah.
the real world. I thought that's like such an interesting angle on like, oh, there's these giant animals. I just can't deal with this. I got to go somewhere else. I got to move. I thought that was so smart. I think like, what if they have that in the like future movie, like, oh, like a
Oh
just a
yeah.
dinosaur attack like in the cities, like one of those walled off cities and stuff. Jurassic City, dude.
Jurassic City.
Well.
What if
There's a
that's
J Dub
the
4.
what if that's the movie? It's about one of these dino-free cities and the day it all goes to shit.
Dude, that's cool. I like the Dino Free City. I thought that's such a an interesting use of
Concept.
yeah,
Mhm.
interesting concept of, oh, open world dinosaurs. Aside from all the ecological shit, there's probably just gonna be people like who are like in tough spots who are just like, I just can't deal with this. I gotta go somewhere else. And I like that. That was such a, I don't know why I keep thinking about that specific scene. I just like that whole thing. Such a advanced concept.
For sure.
I think one
for
thing
sure.
I just thought of, especially now that like touching back on Handler, and it reminds me now that we're talking. You know, in Dominion when Soyona Santos is on the phone with Dodson, and
Mhm.
they mention something saying like they don't want something that happened like the first time or whatever. Do you think
Mhm.
the first time is alluding to what happens in Chaos Theory, like a
Yeah.
future thing?
not sure.
Yeah.
Quite
Maybe.
possibly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All good. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think one of the reasons why we don't have Santos yet is also so they can kill off the handler. They want a villain that they can kill off. That makes a lot of sense to me, in
Mhm.
my opinion. So that's probably why we don't have her, and I'm sure that we will get her in a later season or allude
Oh
to
yeah.
her at least.
Don't Dodgson and Soyona Santos, don't they say what happened in Berlin or something? What do they say?
No, they didn't specify the.
The
I don't.
location. They
I
just
know.
said that.
I know that movie too well.
I don't
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
know. I haven't seen it since since like right when it hit digital.
That
So I
sigh
do
in your
need to-
voice before you answered is hilarious.
I do need to rewatch it. I think I can rewatch Dominion, like Fallen Kingdom. I wish I could. I really do wish I could enjoy this.
We don't need to, man. We got
So-
Chaos Theory now.
So hey, speaking of that, let's talk about Jurassic World 4 for a little bit.
Oh man,
Sound good?
do we have to? That's how good Chaos Theory is. Like, I'm totally good with just
I
talking
won't
about
lie.
this show
There's
forever.
so many things I could talk about with Chaos Theory.
Yeah.
It's so good, but we have
Yeah.
this casting. We got to talk about the casting a little
Um,
bit.
Well, yeah, Chris, you want to bring us up to speed on the Jurassic World 4 news lately?
yeah. So part of the course, I went camping over the weekend, and in traditional form, when I'm away from my phone and away from
Big
the
things.
internet, a giant Jurassic potential news drop happened. A website, I believe Italian, I don't know. Basically, it's
French.
French, yeah, French.
They uploaded what appears to be the full cast list for Jurassic World 4 with character names, and what gives it a lot of credence is the character names align with the casting calls coming out of Thailand. And also, most of the actors that are cast are like super obscure. They don't read as like any sort of like bogus list. Like, and on top of that, as soon as it started getting coverage, within a few hours, they ripped it down. So I believe it to be legitimate. I don't necessarily know for a fact that it's final. It could be something that some of those people were just in talks, and we might see like in the final movie, half of those names are in the movie and half aren't. But we'll see. But yeah, so
Rupert Friend is not on the list, for example.
What is it? It's like 18 actors are now like theoretically cast in the movie.
24.
And yeah, if you all want to take the lead on that, because I'm barely I don't know who. I mean, honestly, outside of Scarlett, I like every time somebody's got cast in this movie, I went, who?
So we've got Scarlett Johansson, we've got Jonathan Bailey, we've got Manuel Garcia Rulfo, we've got Rupert Friend. I'm handing it off to someone because my brain is going blank.
Boys, I got it right here. Unfortunately, we have Joel McHale. Fortunately, we have Lily Collins, McCad Brooks, Oliver Jackson Cohen. Oh, I should probably give you the names. Should we do the names as well? Let's do the names. Scarlett Johansson's apparently playing a character
You're
named
saying
Zora.
Yeah, character names.
Valmakova.
Yes.
Yeah,
So she's playing the cousin of Natasha Romanoff. Jonathan Bailey is playing a character called Loomis Howard. Manuel Garcia Rulfo, is playing a character named Ruben Martinez. Is there any Martinez in the novels? That's Gutierrez, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check my novels.
Is it Martinez as well?
Go on, Nassis.
Joel McHale is playing a character named Ethan Hunter. If this character's name is Ethan Hunter in the movie, throw the script out, throw David Koepp out. I'm not kidding. Ethan Hunter, come on.
Seems like a David Koepp gag. I mean, he wrote on Mission Impossible, right?
Mission Impossible.
I mean, if you look at David Koepp's recent track record, and yeah, not good. So I guess that tracks. So Lily Collins is playing a character named Elizabeth Liz Evans. This is like, I didn't expect Lily Collins to be in a Jurassic. That's kind of dope as hell. Makad Brooks is playing a character named Francis Emoti. Oliver Jackson Cohen, he plays a character named Jake Middleton Bridges. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. We have Wu Jing playing Chan Yang. We have Maria Zhang playing Ellie Yang. We have Michael Socha playing a character named Rufus. Richard Gadd playing a character named Parker. Harry Shum Jr. playing Mr. Suzuki. Oh boy, this is going to be tough. I apologize in advance. Inaki Godoy is playing Pedro. Tobin Bell, that's interesting, eh? Tobin Bell. Playing Mr. Theodore. I hope that's like of some sort of French-Canadian descent, I hope.
And for those who don't know,
boy.
Tobin Bell
Another tough one. I apologize in advance again. Vithat. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is tough. Vith Aya Pansringram is playing a character named Mr. Nguyen. I think he's a Thai actor. Whitney Abel. Someone pointed this out. This is an actress from Gareth Edwards' first movie, Monsters. That's a cool little shout out. Daniel Zovato's playing Ignacio. Jose Palma's playing Luis. Omar Ayuso's playing Aurelia. Monica Del Carmen's playing Ixchel. These are cool names. Maria Mercedes Caroy. She looks like to be one of the younger cast potentially, but like there's no kids in this cast. She's playing Lolbe. Edgar Flores is playing Yeltsin. Indira Andrewin is playing Greta, and Polo Morin is playing Eric. This guy looks jacked. Holy moly, guys, that was a tough list.
So, the name in all of those that is the most interesting to me, what's the actress who's playing a character named Ellie? Who is that?
Maria Zhang.
Okay, so that's really interesting.
She's in her 20s, I believe.
Yeah, that's really interesting to me. And I was talking on Twitter with somebody about this as the reason I'm bringing this up. But like, if her name is actually Ellie, if her character's name ends up being Ellie, if this is true, like that's going to be really interesting within the story, and where this is set in the Jurassic timeline and the justification for that. Because like Ellie's, I don't know if y'all know this, but Ellie is a big name in the Jurassic franchise. So like,
Really?
You would think David kept
I didn't
notes.
know that.
yeah. So like, the person I was talking with, shout out Austin on Twitter. So I was saying that like, if this is set after Dominion, I feel like we're in a place in the Jurassic franchise where someone might name their child after a paleontologist that's famous and they think is great.
Dude,
But like,
I love where your brain is at.
and I mean, I think that would be valid. I don't know if Jurassic needs that, but like, I wouldn't dislike it. But anyway, that's a total tangent on the casting thing. I think they're all relatively unknown-ish, and
Yeah.
I like that. Mikad Brooks, I've seen him in a few things, and I enjoy his performances, so I was excited seeing his name there. And as well as the actress that's playing the Ellie, possibly playing the Ellie character. So this is the news around Jurassic World 4 continues to be super interesting, so and
Does
unexpected.
anything really pop out at us? I like
Well-
from this casting. The thing that initially, the thing that went to immediately was Wu Jing and Maria Yang playing what looks to be potentially father daughter brother sister sort of thing. So
Okay.
looks like there's some family stuff going on here for the most part. And
My
Obviously, the
only
one thing-
concern. Oh, sorry,
oh,
Aziz.
go ahead.
Ah,
Yeah,
so
no, you
Ah,
go. I
okay.
insist.
okay. So Inaki Godi. I butchered his name. I'm so sorry. Anyways, he plays Luffy, the live action for One Piece. Apparently, they're filming season 2 next month. So I don't know.
Oh.
So that's what because I saw this floating around on Twitter yesterday. That
Interesting.
that's scheduled to start filming next month as well. So I don't know if that's role's gonna stay there, since like I assume that's gonna be in 2 different locations. So I don't know how he's gonna do that.
Pretty big part of One Piece. You know what I mean? My
Yeah,
guy? Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like they're not gonna. Yeah. So yeah, that was the only thing I wanted to throw in.
No, actually, this ties into what I want to kind of bring up with the casting. I see a lot of what's the correct
Netflix
term
actors?
for this? How say again? Sorry, Chris.
Netflix. A lot of people from Netflix shows.
No, that's like I meant to say like of the. I don't want to say it's Latino because I don't know if that's the background, but like South American.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are, like, I mean, Mercedes. I believe. Wait, what's her name? I'm sorry, Maria Mercedes Coroy. I think she's from. I think she's Guatemalan.
There is a Costa Rican actor in there, is there
There's
not?
a Costa
Bingo,
Rican
baby. That's what I
actor.
meant to say. So
There's-
that area.
There's Hispanic actors. There seems to be a lot of that. And on top of that, we know that the casting call in Thailand was calling for Hispanic actors, or like Latino and Latina actors, I should say.
I should have
and-
gone.
Or those who look like they could pass as that. So I think that this is very clearly a Costa Rican set movie. I don't think that there is any singular doubt in my mind that this movie is going to be set within the 5 deaths or mainland Costa Rica. In my mind, I
Agreed.
Think this
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
we've seen the locations, which we could talk about. We see some of the locations that they're going to film at, and it is confirmed now. Thailand news have like confirmed with their film industry the filming locations. So we know what some of these locations look like. They're very it's both
Gorgeous.
very familiar yet very
Very
beautiful.
Isla Nublar,
Jurassic.
Isla Sorna.
It looks Jurassic, fellas. Let's just
It
say
looks
it.
Jurassic.
Yeah.
It looks new,
Very
but it looks
Jurassic.
Jurassic. Yeah, I think that we have a Costa Rica movie finally. I think that we might be splitting, if I had to guess, between an island and mainland Costa Rica.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. This is the original JP3. Let's
I'm
go,
on board.
Jaden. This is what we
I'm on
wanted.
board.
Yeah.
Let's
Happens.
go, boys.
I will say, like, the cast, like at least the leading cast, my big issue is they all look a little samey. I think that the leading
Little bit.
cast could have maybe used a little bit more of something.
Color.
Coleman Domingo.
Dev Patel.
Dev Patel,
Those
yes.
must
Who's the most recent person cast by the trades?
Manuel or
Manuel
Rupert
Garcia.
Rupert Friend also.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
so
He's not even on this list.
on this list. I will mention that he's not
That's
on this
true.
list.
Do we
So
know what character he's playing? I think we did, right?
yeah, I
There's
think.
one name missing.
Hold on, wait. We can check real news.
I feel like an investigator right now.
What?
Just real quick. Yeah, April 24th, it got posted on Screen Rant that season 2 of One Piece is reportedly starts filming in June 2024. So I don't know how they're gonna fit that, but yeah.
Dude, yeah, if unless they're filming like right next door, because I don't know anything about the show, but I could see One Piece being set there. I don't know anything about One Piece.
I was trying to
Pictures
find
I've
the
seen, but, like,
location and stuff like that to see if it is in Thailand because the coastal side and stuff like that, and they do use a lot of water scenes in One Piece and stuff like that. But I can't find any locations or anything like that. But still, the dates are a
the
bit
dates are
touch and go.
To be fair, he's playing a one named character, like not a first and last name. So it
Thank
might be
you.
a small
That's
role.
important. That's important to know.
Okay.
Rupert's probably playing the character Xavier.
Okay.
Just one word, Xavier.
If I had to guess, because there was looking for like doubles for a character named Xavier in the Thailand casting things. So Rupert's probably playing Xavier, who's missing from this list. A lot of people are saying, "Oh man, there's a lot of people in this movie. It's gonna be bloated." But like I said, these are probably gonna be or like I said before we started filming, half of these characters are probably just gonna be like the little minor roles, like the guy in Fallen Kingdom who goes $1 million, and most of these characters aren't probably going to be characters. And on top of that, it's very possible that there might be some leads missing from this list.
20 millions.
I hope
it
not.
It might be the cast entirely, or there might be one or two leads. Like I said, the big issue is the leads that we know of that have been cast by the trade so far. They're all like roughly the same age and like kind of roughly similar looking. Like I do feel like we're missing some sort of seniority within the leading cast and some sort of like a little bit of like diversity across the board with like the leads that we know of so far. But this is a pretty well-rounded cast. An interesting cast. I was hoping for like, I guess like
One more
a well-known
name.
but not huge star. I was hoping for like more of a character actor like within it that you can really get behind, but like isn't like a huge Hollywood breakout star, like a Walton Goggins of it all. I was hoping for something like that in the cast. So I will say like the cast is leaving me like feeling a little like it didn't scratch an itch for me.
I feel like every Jurassic cast kind of has a couple of wild cards. Like Jurassic Park had Jeff Goldblum. The Lost World has Pete Postlethwaite and Arliss Howard.
That guy was a legend, though. To be fair.
Well,
before
but what I'm not saying they like aren't well known. I'm just saying they're like one of those actors who are gonna give you a unique performance, if that makes
Sure.
sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that are gonna give you that. And
Yeah, they're well known for
Hey,
like
we're looking
doing.
at Javier
Yeah.
Bardem originally. You remember that? That would have been a freaking get. Looking at the
Yes.
cast now.
This cast is a little young and pretty. I would say like that. I guess it's the one issue is like I'm not saying like they can't be charismatic or anything like that, but they
Yeah.
all look a little traditionally Hollywood young and pretty, and I'm like, man, I just hope that we can get somebody that like I said, Walton Goggins, who is very charismatic.
Yeah.
But like
I
also
think
very unique.
I think if there were anyone in the confirmed cast so far that qualifies as that, it would be Rupert Friend. Like I just really wasn't expecting that one. And
Really?
he's very good, very weird as the Grand Inquisitor in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Like, and now he's coming to do a Jurassic World. Like that kind of character actor coming to Jurassic World could be a unique thing. But yeah.
You know what this looks like when I look at this cast list? I don't know if for
Netflix show?
any listener who is a big sports fan, this looks to me like when the GM goes out and gets like the star player and spends their entire salary cap on their Scarlett Johansson in this case, and then they have to fill the rest of the lineup with like two-way guys, and then the rest of these guys are just two-way guys. It looks like. No offense to them, I'm just saying.
I don't mind that, though.
Scarlett Johansson kind of stands out amongst the cast.
I prefer that for Jurassic, honestly. I think that my
Yeah,
biggest issue is
I do
I'm
too.
just unfamiliar with most of them, where I'm not like, oh, this person gives really good performances or anything along those lines. Like, I'm just largely unfamiliar with the cast, so I
So
don't have any strong opinions. Like, it's not doing anything for me in either direction. I'm very lukewarm on
you're
Scarlet.
neutral on it.
Like, I don't really have a strong opinion on her, and I don't have a strong opinion on anyone. So I will say the cast leaves me, like, aching a little bit, where there's not someone where I'm like, yeah, they've given like a performance. I mean, Tobin Bell's interesting, um,
Yeah.
and
But he's
if
not
he's
like a
not playing a
freaking
villain,
gravitas
I'm a
actor
lot
though.
more excited. Like if he's not playing a villain, if he's playing like a character that isn't just like the scary bad guy, then cool, I'm really in. But if he's playing the scary bad guy, he could still give a really good performance. But that's like, come on, like I don't know.
Oh,
There's nothing wrong with
Christopher.
the cast. I'm just unfamiliar with them, so I can't form a strong opinion on
You
them.
just reminded me of something.
But I
You
will
reminded me
say,
of the report, dude. That the report was freaking from Daniel RPK that they were casting an older gentleman for the villain. I only see one older gentleman here, fellas.
True.
fair.
Actually,
Well,
two. There's two older gentlemen, for
I
sure.
would say there's two or three.
Listen, buddy, I I'm just surprised at the fact that where is the announcement for this? These are some like okay, aside from some of us not knowing or not liking people, Joel McHale's a big name. He is a big name. Lily Collins
Hmm.
is a big name.
Hmm.
These are some big names, and I'm sure Maria Zhang and Wu Jing, I'm sure they're pretty big in their respective countries. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised that Universal hasn't been like, "Yo, check this shit out." Unless Chris is saying this is not final, but the fact
I
that they're
think
here,
I think
they must be final.
I think Jurassic June might be a
Mhm.
fun one this year because
Yeah,
I think some of these announcements are going to start coming out. Is the feeling I get. So
totally.
Just
Yeah, if
dropping
these people
bombs
are
left and right.
cast, then yeah, I think that there's going to be a big onslaught of like one of those like where like a ton of names are dropped all at once. And I think that
Well,
they were probably primarily focusing on announcing the like the primary leads so far.
fellas, did you not see the report a couple of days ago or this morning that I think it was from our boy Sean from Real News? He said that the movie Owl, aka this one, Jurassic World 4, has been filming in Thailand since May 21st. So
Um,
that could be just pickup shots like of like the mountains and shit like that. But the fact that they've already like started putting stuff to, I guess I wasn't say print, but I don't know if it's print anymore. But the point is that this started filming and there's no like acknowledgement of the full cast or even Universal saying something. I'm starting to get a feeling in the bottom of my belly. This movie's getting delayed one full year.
I don't think so. I'm gonna
I'm
bet
feeling it in my balls.
I'm gonna bet you that unless the movie ends up being a mess once it's made, that it will not be delayed. I think that everything is going just fine. Um, I don't believe it's actually started film. I mean, it could have started filming, but my bet is that's a bit of a misreport. I bet you that the crew has begun assembling and begun
Sure.
working and prepping, and
hmm
it might appear that filming has begun, but it's rather like production has begun, but principal photography hasn't begun. But yeah, we are it is possible they started doing plate photography and like establishing shots. It is very possible, but we do know that June 13th is when the cast should start filming in Thailand. And now that basically Outpost in Real News Hawaii got sourced a ton in a lot of Thai news outlets.
We
Basically like,
love you,
hey,
Thailand.
like rumor has it it's filming here, and then today the news started breaking like, yes, we've confirmed it's filming here.
yeah.
And here are the places it is filming, and here are the dates that it is filming, and we know that it's filming for at least a month in Thailand, and we know a lot of different locations, including Bangkok, which is surprising.
hmm
Every other location has been wilderness, but Bangkok was surprising to me. So yeah,
I'm trying to connect the dots between Bangkok and some sort of like Bangkok, the city proper. Maybe it could
well,
just be
that's the
city
thing.
shots.
They say Bangkok, but it might be just outside of it. It might just be a really pretty
Yeah.
beach there. It might be a weird alleyway that they're gonna substitute for somewhere completely different.
Oh, that's a good look for Jurassic. That's a new look for Jurassic. Like a dirty freaking Thai alley somewhere. That'd be kind of cool, actually, as a visual. No, no, as a visual to look at.
What I
It's
find
like
really
it's
funny
new.
is
It's
all
unique.
the Thai news channels are using that mock-up Jurassic World 4 logo that I cooked up. It's really funny seeing that thing get so much play.
Well,
Um,
Chris, You are the lore advisor of
Oh my
Jurassic
god,
World.
I'm not
When
the
do
lore
you
advisor. I
when
don't
do
know
you
who
fly
added that,
down?
and I don't know how to remove it.
When
And
do you
also,
fly down to Thailand?
probably whoever added Phil Tippett as well. Phil Tippett is not the dinosaur supervisor on this movie.
Is he not?
No, it's
Oh,
It's Steve
Steve
Broussard. It's
Broussard.
Steve
Silly.
Broussard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is it just pronounced Broussard?
I think it's Broussardi. Sorry. I always do it wrong.
Oh, okay. No, not a problem. Uh, I take no offense to that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. What I will say is, I think this is gonna be a beautiful movie.
Yes, I agree.
I'm on Sean's, Real News page. Let's see. Actually, can one
Look
of
at
you?
that
I'm not really
watery
good at
hole.
pronunciations with unfamiliar locations. I don't want to butcher it. I feel like one of you might. Caleb, can you pull up
What's
Real
up?
News and say the locations that they're filming?
Yeah,
Good
I will.
luck.
I will.
Yeah, this
While
is your
I'm
time for some hard names. Buddy.
while I'm while I'm looking this up, I
We should also
want to
talk
say
about the
that
Reddit thing.
which Reddit thing?
The Unreal Engine 5 thing.
Oh,
Oh, that.
don't even give that the time of the day.
I think
well,
it's legitimate, but I think it's
hang on.
being described very poorly.
Whoa, what do you mean it's legitimate?
Well,
No, hold on.
Caleb, say
Let's
your
talk
thoughts
about the
first.
location. I was just gonna say, I think
We
that
have a problem here, folks.
all of these, I agree with what you said, Chris, wholeheartedly. That I think this movie is just gonna look so good, and it's gonna be all these awesome locations. So I have a tweet from Real News Hawaii here that says Jurassic World film crew is interested in filming in Bangkok, Phang Nga Province, Phuket Province, Chiang Mai Province, and Hawaii to Waterfall in Khao Phanom Bencha National Park.
He did
and
not
then-
say F it for those who.
Well,
I was surprised. I had to look. I was like, what did he say?
I'm not entirely certain that I'm pronouncing that one correctly, but anyway.
That's a hard one to look at.
So let's see. And then this other tweet from Real News says they're interested in filming in the Krabi and Trong provinces. Yeah, so there's a lot of beautiful locations in Thailand.
Yeah, and I can
for
confirm that Krabi for sure is being used because I've been stalking people on LinkedIn.
Sure.
That's absolutely 100%
Dude,
the
Thailand
case.
is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, this movie.
This image with the Jurassic World 4 logo and Thailand in the background, I dig it.
Yeah. All these locations like the Marine National Park area in Krabi, what is it? The Kulong Rot, and
We apologize.
Khao Phanom Benka National Park. It's just so beautiful. To me, you know what's really funny? This is what Jurassic Park has always looked like in my mind's eye, even though it's always been filmed at Hawaii. It's always looked like this to me in my imagination, in my this is what Jurassic Park is supposed to look like to me. And I know that sounds weird, but this is going to be the most Jurassic Park looking Jurassic Park movie, judging by these locations. And I know that's the weirdest thing to say for a
No,
movie.
it's not. I'm so happy you said that, Chris, because when I read the Jurassic World novel, or oh, Jesus Christ, I wish there was a novel. If the Jurassic Park novel or the Lost World novel, I always picture the T-Rex as, not our T-Rex, the Jurassic T-Rex. I think of it as this ugly, it's just a generic dinosaur, I think of, honestly. You know what I mean? So I'm with you. I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a beautiful movie. These locations are good. I will not be shocked if they do some plate photography in Hawaii. Like if we do return to any of the islands, I will be willing to bet that they have an establishing shot of Hawaii before we get into the nitty gritty of Thailand making up the composition of the island. Or they might throw some of the Hawaiian mountains in the background if it's supposed to be Isla Nublar or Isla Sorna or even one of the other. I'm kind of hoping that this is one of the other islands. I hope that it's one of the other islands if we're on an island.
And these are locals or something?
Say that again?
How did the dinosaurs get on the island? Why are dinosaurs hopping islands again?
They've always been on the Five Deaths, and also they're everywhere in the world.
Wait, what?
Why
I
do you
thought
think
they're on
called the Five
Sorna and
Deaths?
Nublar.
Why do you think they're on the Five Deaths? Why are they called the Five Deaths? There's dinosaurs on all five
Dude, the
of those
Five
islands.
Deaths were since the 1700s or something in the actual lore, no? Am I wrong?
No, I don't think so. No, I think
Dude,
Jurassic
it was
World
called the
Evolution
Five
also
Deaths. 100%.
comment on it as well with his dinosaurs on there, I'm pretty sure.
Man, that's a video game, guy.
It's canon.
No, it's not.
It is.
You're
It's
telling-
canon.
Jaden, how could it be canon?
It's
The
half
Jurassic
mast
Park
canon.
DLC. How could
Sure.
it be canon?
Soft.
Soft canon, sure.
Speaking
Okay.
of games, though, Summer Games Fest is next Friday,
Let's
Yes.
go.
Yes.
so we'll be probably hearing some
Tell
things
us-
about.
Yeah, tell us about Jurassic Park Survival, Jaden.
Well, there's nothing really to go off from what we mentioned last podcast, but
No,
the
there
fact
is
is
something, Jaden.
there is something. Oh, I got I
Yeah.
guess I have connections now. Is that what you're talking about? Or no?
Yeah, Jaden has his source. Everyone,
I-
this is a proud moment for our boy. You gotta
Yeah,
tell us
so
what-
I'm actually friends with Tim Willits on LinkedIn. So
They're drinking buddies.
yeah,
Well,
no, but Summer Games Fest is next Friday, the 7th of June, and it goes for the whole weekend. What was the Aziz, the game publisher that works with Saber or Universal? What was that one called
Focus.
again? Focus. They're on day one for Summer Games
Bingo.
Fest, so the
You know,
Friday.
I really feel so vindicated. If this comes out, I'm gonna like throw my remote through my TV. It's gonna be amazing.
So yeah. So hopefully we hear something about Jurassic Park Survival next weekend, especially with the start of June, Jurassic June. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think we're gonna get. I'm positive we're gonna get some news. I feel like.
I can
Yeah.
even add a little little heat to that potential
Oh
thing.
shit!
What?
Go
Add
ahead,
the
Chris.
heat, you insider.
Oh,
I've been waiting for this
okay.
all episode. Let's
Very
go.
circumstantial. But
Oh.
so when the Jurassic Park Survival or Survivor trailer came out, I commented on the YouTube thing like the day that the trailer came out. Like I was like, yeah, I can't wait or whatever. I don't know. And 2 days ago, the official channel liked that that comment on it, and I'm like, oh, activity.
They just
Ooh.
uploaded the
So I
trailer.
think that they are gearing up to become active on
Oh baby.
everything.
Social media.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that we are very rapidly approaching a proper reveal for the game, and I want to say we have now entered a new era of Jurassic, and I'm not
Yes.
just trying to.
True.
So
True.
we've got season 1 of Chaos Theory, okay, and sometime between now and December, probably closer to September, we should have season 2 of Chaos Theory. And then
Oh,
maybe between
music.
then and Jurassic World 4, we might even have season 3 of Chaos Theory. Then we have somewhere between now and the end of 2025, we have Jurassic Park Survival. And on top of that, in 2025, we have Jurassic World Evolution 3.
What? I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
And
Yeah.
I can tell you that Jurassic World Evolution 3 is gearing for 2025, and it is, in fact, Jurassic World Evolution 3, because Universal Game executives have posted on LinkedIn saying, it's official, Jurassic World Evolution 3 is coming in conjunction with the new film. And there you have it.
Wow.
We're freaking eating, boys.
So
Oh.
We are
on-
eating.
We are on this
Holy
level.
shit.
Of
New
momentum
film
that I
in
don't think we've ever really
2025.
seen. Yeah.
I have chills.
We are.
It feels weird that we're getting this much
A
content
new-
and we're actually having a lot of like
We've
Good
shit to
content.
consume. You know what I mean? It feels weird that we're getting this as a fan base now.
in the words of Ian Malcolm, we've entered a new era. Welcome.
Yeah, I think that we are about to start seeing some really interesting momentum moving forward. Is basically,
Sweet.
yeah. I think that we are going to see a lot of positive momentum. Chaos Series fantastic, assuming it continues to be fantastic. You know, I think that we're going to see a lot of the bad taste leave Jurassic. Now, I do worry about Jurassic Park Survival. I do, and it's just because it's a tough nut to crack. And we know that they're going to have to put in the legwork to align the story, because we know very well that it's not necessarily catered in a way from Universal that makes it easy. So I do worry that they might struggle. I do worry that, like, you know, I think that let's talk about video game design for a second here. Flying enemies are a pretty common archetype that are going to be in the game, and I would not be shocked if the Pteranodons that appear in the game are the Jurassic World designs. And so I do feel like Jurassic Park Survival might be one of those, like, it's good, but also its attention to detail is, like, really hit and miss and whatnot. So I could see
Oh, but that'll be
Survival being a
modded
good
day
game
one.
that also leaves, like, weird mixed feelings where it feels disjointed. But I'm hoping that's not the case. But
Chris,
I am basing
I'll be
that on
honest
the
with you,
fact-
man.
I'm based on the fact that the Velociraptors are just Blue's model, um, with like a Jurassic Park texture on them, but also they have yellow eyes instead of green eyes and whatnot. Maybe that was just because they needed to rush something for pre-alpha gameplay footage, but I am seeing a little lack of attention to detail there with the dinosaurs, as in like basically they were handed the IOM models and then like kind of went with that. And
Hey,
I do
but
worry
Chris,
about
though,
that aspect of it.
that's not, dude. That's not even the big deal. The big deal is the gameplay.
The gameplay definitely matters the most, but that stuff does matter. It's like
It matters,
if there's
but it
an
doesn't
original
bug me,
trilogy
though.
Star Wars game, but it has clone troopers, but they're calling them
Completely
stormtroopers.
different, though. I would say completely different.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that stuff does matter. I think gameplay.
It matters, absolutely.
I think gameplay is the most important.
But it doesn't bug me, though.
Anyways, I'm going to be curious how much they handle all of that. But yeah, I think we're at just this tremendous position right now where we're going to be living a Jurassic onslaught. And I think this is going to be the first time where all the stars align in a very, very good way.
Yeah, I agree. Like it feels like we're like with Chaos Theory, with everything, it feels like we're taking this step forward in the Jurassic franchise, to be honest. And I think that's probably a pretty good place to start wrapping up this pod. Before we get out of here, any final Jurassic thoughts from the three of you?
I've been thinking about this for the last few minutes. None of this matters. None of this positive momentum will matter if there's not another event. Let's be real. The events are what we're waiting for. It's been a number of years since I've been to one event. I want an event.
Chris, what were you gonna say?
I just joined last night. I recorded with Brad on the Jurassic Park podcast. He had me come on, and we talked a lot about like the brand and you know the things they're doing right, the things that we feel like they can do stronger, and we talk about how they really don't cultivate the fan base in a very cohesive manner, and that's why the Jurassic fan base feels kind of small and scattered. Like everyone loves Jurassic Park, but it's not necessarily cultivated. Now, with that comes perks. A smaller fan base means it gets a little less. It's not as toxic.
You know everyone too.
Yeah, and it makes it very personal. But at the same time, I do think that Universal could put more legwork into putting that effort forward, because there's a general feeling. A lot of people say it. I don't believe it to be true, but a lot of people say Universal doesn't care. I think they don't care, but I do understand that that is a feeling that people have, and it's hard for people to invest in a franchise if they feel like the people making the franchise don't invest in it. So I think it is important to have like a presence at Comic-Con, and that's why I think there's that attention to detail for things like the dinosaur designs matter. And I think that's why it matters for like social media posts to not feel like they're only aimed at the TikTok generation. I've got nothing wrong with them aiming for TikTok and whatnot. It seems like that typically content they do, and they need to round it out a little bit more.
That's
a thought.
I think that's a really valid discussion, because I agree. I mean, I do think Universal cares. I just think they're misguided at times, and I will say that like you were talking about the social media posts. I do think they've gotten a little bit better about that. But
yes, I agree.
Anyway, yeah. But I think like I guess my final point of what I was going to say was like Jurassic, because you were talking about Comic-Con presence, like Jurassic is a big enough franchise that it should have that kind of thing at cons, like Star Wars has, like other big franchises have. So yeah, I don't know. You talking about that made me have that thought, but yeah.
Universal will understand this very shortly, because what we're seeing now, at least from my opinion, from an outside viewer onto Hollywood, is there's only a select few major IPs that are going to make it, and it seems like Jurassic is just one of them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The fact that Dominion came out, I keep seeing all these movie pundits keep mentioning this. I don't know why, but they keep so I'm going to mention it too. Dominion came out, did horribly critically, and did okay with audiences, still made $1 billion. So Jurassic is just going to be one of those things that will, I guess, in like 5 years, a Universal will be like, this is our only franchise left. They'll start paying a little bit more attention to. No, I'm being honest, because Fast and Furious is even being scaled back now. Donna Langley came out and said, "Yeah, we're gonna go back to the streets now." You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, so they said they're going to LA this time.
I feel like I can add on with the Universal thing, because with
tell
with events and
tell us
stuff
your
like
final Jurassic thoughts, Jaden.
I always say this, especially last year when I met some of the Universal people at the exhibition in Sydney. they are trying to connect more to people like us and creators, and because we are kind of the bridge between the fans and stuff like that, as fans as well. So I do think they are changing. It's a very slow process at the moment because unfortunately there is a couple old heads that don't really understand social media or content creation or stuff like that, so they don't really use us as a media outlet, but that is changing, which I'm very happy to say. And what you guys are mentioning about Comic Con and stuff like that, especially as me that lives in Australia and we're so isolated, and even before I joined Outpost, like even when that first call with Chris and Jack, I was saying there's like nothing like Jurassic here and stuff like that. It's changing, and stuff like that, especially now that I have the opportunity to bring Jurassic Outpost and do our own little community meetups and stuff like that at events. Hopefully, Universal can see that and start wanting to work more with those kind of things, like with those cons and stuff like that, and do more stuff. Because last year with Supernova, it did really well. But yeah, just all I'm gonna say is that they're slowly getting better with it.
Yeah.
And as fans, I think we're in a good position now, and it's only going to get better. But it is going to be a slow process. But I just want to say they do care, even if it doesn't feel like it. But they do. They are trying. It's just a slow process. You just got to understand that content creation and social media is a new thing. So they're just trying to get around the whole thing and understand it and how it works for them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jaden.
Yeah, it's complicated.
That's very good.
They're a giant corporation that aren't entirely, set up for like the way that they handle their films, the way they handle Jurassic is the way they handle all their films right now, and that is a valid strategy for all of their films except for Jurassic. And so it's kind of hard to build a separate infrastructure for Jurassic only. And I think it's slowly going to start to happen. Arguably not fast enough, but they also are this mega corporation where one hand doesn't talk to the other. So it's not that easy.
Yeah.
They aren't set up to necessarily make that type of move easily. It's still worth criticizing. It's still worth criticizing, but don't say they don't care. They do care. They are just stretched thin. And the same people working on Jurassic are working on Minions, Trolls, Fast and Furious,
when they
Train Your Dragon,
when they should have dedicated teams for that kind of thing. But anyway,
they do care. They're giving us Chaos Theory, Survival, JW 4. Like,
absolutely,
this is the most we've ever. Like, Universal has absolutely shifted something behind the scenes. I said this last. I'm sorry, Caleb. We're almost done. I've said this in the last couple episodes. But like something shifted behind the scenes. I don't know what's going on. If Donna Langley was like, we just gotta lock this shit down after their stuff underperformed. But I saw some sort of shift where all of a sudden Jurassic is like, oh, this is like actually important for us. Let's start using it. And guess what? First project out the gate, in my opinion, being Chaos Theory, yeah, you knocked it out of the park. And Jurassic Park Survival being up next potentially. That's a game we all wanted. Jurassic World 4, on paper so far, looks pretty damn solid. So they're doing something right. They definitely do give a shit.
We've entered a new Jurassic era. We've entered a new era of the franchise, like we were saying a minute ago. The world is changing, that feels like a good place for us to end this podcast. But go ahead, Chris.
Yes.
I just want to say the Jurassic Park '93 collection Young T-Rex set looks phenomenal.
Yes.
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 I really think that looks incredible. Mattel knocked it out of the park. And also Beyond the Gates is a weird thing to talk about, but if we saw the page for Beyond the Gates and Target.com, you'll see that there's a new collection coming out called the Jurassic World Reimagined Collection. And I just want to pick your brains real quick. Do you all presume? I presume that it is basically the '93 Classic Collection rebranded so it can encapsulate all movies and not necessarily always reference Kenner, but basically be like, what if now all the movies were done in the classic Kenner style? Is that what you all think? Because I saw some people thinking like, what if it's what if the Jurassic World dinosaurs were scientifically accurate, which is a cool idea.
I think what you're saying would be very, very cool, and I would love it, and it would be awesome. But the toy collector in me personally hopes that Mattel could go back and do some of the things from the first Jurassic World movie that that Hasbro did horribly, frankly. That's what I hope the
I like my
Jurassic
bowl
World
and hot chicken feed with
reimagined.
T-Rex.
That's what I hope the Jurassic World reimagined idea is going to be, but I don't know.
I just want evil raiders. I'm showing it to the boys. All I want is evil raiders. Shout out.
Pretty cool.
I just
What do I
want
got
Hammond
here?
Collection
sure.
back in Australia.
Skinner.
Yeah.
Skinner, my guy.
I want the Amber
Yeah.
collection to come back, but it to be completely different and a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. We that feels like an even better place to close out this podcast because we've been going for a little while. Thank you for listening to this episode of the InGeneral podcast, episode 120. Thank you, Jaden, Chris, Assis, for joining. We talked about a lot of great things in the Jurassic franchise. So check out Jurassic Outpost on YouTube and JurassicOutpost.com, and we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.